Next up at UFC 292, we have Chito Vera taking on Pedro Munhoz. Marlon Vera, Chito Vera, as I will refer to him from here on out, is 22-8 overall, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that loss to Corey Sandhagen. He's taking on Pedro Munhoz, 20-7 overall, 2-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that underdog win over Chris Gutierrez, where if you remember, Chris Gutierrez was like this big prospect, this big power puncher, all these things. Pedro Munhoz dropped him and ended up winning that fight. And Pedro Munhoz is a very good striker, right? He's a volume striker, nonstop pace, incredible leg kicks. He's got dangerous BJJ, but he almost never uses it. He's not going to shoot a takedown or anything like that. He does have a negative striking differential, so he is hit more than he hits his opponents, which is a little surprising because he always looks very, very busy, but I guess it just tells you how much he's getting hit. He's landing 5.3 significant strikes per minute, which is a high number. And the reality is that Pedro Munhoz, yes, is 2-1 in his last 5. The one is that no contest to Sean O'Malley where he won the first round, but then he got eye-poked. The losses in that line are, I mean, he's losing to very, very good people. Chito Vera could frankly be, and this is, I'm not trying to be, would be like the worst person he's lost to in the last 5 years, if that makes sense.
Wow.
But Chito Vera is
Cheeto.
good. Chito Vera is good. He's a Muay Thai striker. He loves to have just ugly, dirty, gritty fights. He does a great job of using all of his tools. He's got a pretty versatile attack style. And while he doesn't really wrestle, he is dangerous in the grappling as well. He'll use a submission threat for sure. He does have a negative striking differential himself. He's so freaking hittable. But he has so much power, it doesn't matter how much he was hit, or he's completely outstruck in most of his fights. Frankie Edgar completely outstruck him, and then he beat him. Rob Font completely outstruck him. I mean, Rob Font murdered this dude stat-wise. But Marlon Vera hit so hard, ripped that dude's face up, he took that decision. And Dominic Cruz was, if that was a 3-round fight, Dominic Cruz wins that 30-27. So Chito Vera is just hits really hard, keeps coming forward, stays in your face, wears you down, hamburger meets you up, and then either takes a decision or ends up finishing you. And there's a couple of red flags for Chito here. I did this in my quick picks video as well. But red flag number 1, I don't think Chito Vera is that good. I think he's overrated. I think he's been overrated for a while. I've picked against him, and I've been wrong many times. Red flag number 2 is he has no sense of urgency whatsoever. None. If he's losing the striking exchanges, the first fight or the first round of the Dominic Cruz fight, losing all those striking exchanges, I'm just going to keep doing this exact same thing in the second round. And then in the third round, same thing with the Corey Sandhagen. He doesn't mix it up. He doesn't say, holy shit, I'm down. I need to do this instead. I need to chase this. I need to chase. None of that. None of that. And red flag number 3 is he's supposed to be this dominant striker. He has a negative striking differential. He is literally punched in the face more than he hits his opponents in the face. And all those red flags aside, I still think he wins this fight. I think Pedro Munhoz, keep in mind, this is short notice for Pedro. Not crazy, like 2 weeks. But I think Pedro is going to come in here. I think he is going to be busy. I think he is going to stay in Chito's face. But as we know, I'll show you the stats right here. Pedro Munhoz is hit almost 6 significant strikes per minute. And Chito Vera does pack a punch. He will get your face bloody. He will turn you into a mess. And I think the judges are going to love that. Chito lost to Corey Sandhagen. It says split decision. It was not. That was a very clear unanimous decision loss. But Corey is tough. He's got weird movements. He'll shoot takedowns. That's not Pedro. Pedro's going to be right in front of you just coming forward. And I think Marlon does what he wants and gets that win. So Chito is the pick. What do you think, Jakey boy? Oops.
Yeah, it was a yeah, don't fucking do that again. It was a good breakdown, and then the incorrect pick, because all your red flags, I completely agree. Let me just say, too, both these guys are absolutely tough as shit. I mean, Chito is tough as shit. He can take a beating. He can take a shot. Pedro, the exact same way. So this probably is going to be a decision fight. It's probably going to be a very, very close decision fight. And in decision fights, especially a 3-round decision fight, I don't know how anybody can trust Chito at this point, especially against a guy like Pedro who won't play the game. He won't play that let me stay in the power range game and wait for you to land the big shot. He played that game because Font is a boxer, and Font stayed in that boxing range, was having success in boxing, and then Chito would land that one shot. Pedro is in and out, and he's high IQ, and they have good game plans. You saw that versus Sean. When he was fighting Sean, he was like, listen, I'm not going to throw a fucking punch because you know why? Sean is faster than me. He's probably a little bit more powerful than me, and he wants to counter me. So if I come with pressure, keep this in mind, by the way, for a few fights from now. If I come to pressure with reckless pressure and I'm engaging in the striking, he is going to counter me, and he is going to knock me out. Remember what I'm saying here for a few fights from now. So, what was he doing? He was just staying the distance and just blasting leg kicks. I'm not going to let him counter. I'm not going to let him counter. So he knows how to fight people who are dangerous. He knows how to bring the right pressure to just win rounds and win points. And he probably was going to beat Sugar. I mean, that's the way he was just probably. It was probably going to be boring, super boring. But he knows, and he's high IQ, and he knows how to play that game. Where, as you mentioned with Cheeto, he will just keep doing what he is doing. I said. And we both agreed that we thought Cheeto was overrated. But I said I'm going to attach myself to Cheeto because I picked against him too many times, and I'm going to ride him until the wheels fall off. Going into that Corey fight on the live stream, in this fucking chair right here, I put $700 on Cheeto money line because I'm like, we're doing this. They've set it up. It's going to be Cheeto and Sugar for the title. He's going to beat Corey. He's going to do this. And I sat here for 5 rounds and watched his corner pleading with him. Cheeto, we got to get going. We got to get going. And he just cannot flip that switch. He can't flip that switch. Pedro is going to get ahead. And by the time Cheeto realizes it, the fight's going to be over and he's going to lose another decision. When it comes, I think it's probably going to be close. It could be a split decision, but I can trust Pedro. I feel like I can trust Pedro much more to be able to outpoint somebody than Cheeto. And that's how simple it comes down to.
I'm not gonna argue to the death on that one because I agree. I mean, we had the exact same breakdown, just a different pick. Because I think this could look like the Rob Font fight. Rob Font smoked Cheeto Vera.
He
This
stayed
dude.
in box. Pedro didn't just stay in box people.
Yes, he does. He'll throw some leg kicks, but that doesn't matter.
Also, Pedro's got, don't be surprised if he hurts Cheeto, because Cheeto, this is the hardest puncher Cheeto's faced in a long time. Pedro's got real power. They've just got like 8 knockdowns in 10 fights. He's got real power.
Yeah, I mean, he just knocked down Chris Gutierrez, who's supposed to be this big prospect. So this should be a really fun fight. I did do a little parlay with Cheeto. I'll tell you the other side when we get to that fight. And I do have some buyer's remorse in that because the more I looked at it, I jumped on it because I was like, listen, I think he's overrated, but I think Pedro Munhoz stepping up on short notice, I just don't know how well that's going to go for him. He's older, and I do have a little bit of buyer's remorse. 36. So I do have a little bit of buyer's remorse.
36 is the new 22 in my mind.
I bet it is. I bet, and that's why you're able to talk to Burton DMs, because you're only 22. Creep. So a little bit of buyer's remorse on that. $8,600 to $7,600. Pedro's probably the better value because I agree this is going to go to a decision, and Pedro is just going to. They'll both land a ton of punches here. There'll probably be 0 takedowns and no finish, and Pedro could score well by just with sheer volume.
I think that this is going to look like the Sean fight. I think it's just going to be a lot of staring. I think the crowd starts booing. I think this is a boring fight. Yeah. Because Pedro, I mean, you saw. I mean, he'll just sit there and just okay, I'll just leg kick. Okay. You're not going to throw a punch. Okay. Leg kick. You know, leg kick.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And Cheeto will just stand there, just nice and tall, waiting to counter. Same thing that Sean was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, it could be. It absolutely could be because Pedro is almost too smart. He's almost too good of a veteran where, boo, I don't care.
I wish he would wrestle. I mean, he could get a takedown versus Cheeto, and he's, as you mentioned, a really high-level grappler, but he just doesn't do that. But maybe he does this fight. I mean, he could bring it in. ATT, they get game plans.
I mean, you're right, but short notice, I don't know what his cardio situation is, but wrestling's exhausting. And on short notice, you're going to start to wrestle?
For some people, I guess.
Well, you and I are fist fighting on February 9th, so we'll find out then if wrestling's so hard or easy for you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
WeWonPicks.com, become a premium member. It's only $10 a month. You will unlock everything you have ever imagined you could ever need to make some money and have some fun watching fights. WeWonPicks.com, click become a member. If you're watching this live, the website is currently down. GoDaddy's working on the server, but they have assured me. I talked to them right before we went live, and they said the ticket is active right now, and their goal is to get it done today. So it should be squared away. What's so annoying about that is we didn't do anything. It's not like we broke something and then called them, oh, my God, we rolled this out, or there's a version update. Can you do? It just went down. And I'm like, hey, it's down. Yeah, there's an issue. What? What? That's not how that works. So, yeah.